Thank you very much, President, for the opportunity to be here today. UNFPA, the UN Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, very much welcomes the invitation to take part in this important event. And the rights of adolescents and young people are at the very forefront of UNFPA's mission. Our work consists of ensuring that children from an early age have access to critical services, information, prevention and protection measures so that they can transition successfully to adulthood and unlock their full potential. To this end, we put emphasis on mainstreaming the voices and participation of children, adolescents and young people in policymaking and programming. Children, adolescents and young people are drivers of change. We just heard a very good example from Vasily just now. This human rights principle was enshrined in the Convention of the Rights of the Child and subsequently reaffirmed in the Programme of Action of the International Programme on Population and Development, the ICPD, that actually this year marks the 30th anniversary. The inclusion of their voices of young people, ensures that their capacities, needs, potential and rights are not overlooked. It's a matter of human rights. So what is UNFPA doing to support them in taking steps to fulfill their vision of the world? Let me give you a few examples of our approach. In program design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, we partner with young people and youth-led organizations. We support youth advocates who champion sexual and reproductive health and rights and gender equality in their own context and based on their own priorities. For example, with training on youth peace and security offered to the Iraqi Coalition on Youth Peace and Security. We empower them to inform and to empower them with information and other tools to hold governments to account on their commitments and obligations. We invest in and strengthen youth-led organizations and youth network with a particular emphasis on peer learning initiatives led by marginalized populations, for example, through the Y-Peer network. We promote the participation of underrepresented groups such as indigenous, LGBTIQ, Afro-descendant and migrant youth, and young people living with HIV, young key populations, and young people with disabilities. We support policies and programs that cater to the unique needs of children, adolescents and young people. A successful example is the global program on the elimination of female genital mutilation, implemented in partnership with UNICEF in 17 countries with the highest rate of prevalence. The global program aims to shift negative social norms in affected communities while working with governments to put in place viable national response systems. We guarantee access to services in healthcare, social welfare and legal remedies to prevent and respond to FGM. The program promotes the voice and agency of adolescent girls and strengthens the capacity of youth-led organizations to advocate for their rights. We support comprehensive sexuality education and life skills programs in and out of school settings, such as through girls and youth clubs, specially designed to empower girls in decision-making and contributing to collective change. In addition to that, we organize global youth dialogues with youth-led organizations so that they can make their voices heard. As I mentioned, 2024 marks the 30th anniversary of the ICPD. And next month, in the beginning of April, UNFPA will host an ICPD Global Youth Dialogue in Benin, together with the governments of Benin, the Netherlands, Denmark, as well as USAID. This Global Youth Dialogue aims to engage and celebrate young people as crucial partners in development and custodians of the ICPD Programme of Action. We want to ensure their ownership of this agenda for continued relevance in the coming decades. UNFPA is shaping this global youth dialogue in close partnership with youth-led and youth-serving organizations across regions. 23 organizations will gather in Benin to formulate recommendations to decision makers in key areas of the ICPD Programme of Action and to shape the ICPD 30 report and its positioning in various intergovernmental spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, diversity and inclusivity in youth participation need to be grounded in grassroots work. It is important to recognize and celebrate the diversity within childhood, adolescence and youth spectrum, acknowledging that they encompass a variety of backgrounds, experiences and perspectives. And to ensure that no child, adolescent, young people is left behind, we must go beyond a one-size-fits-all approach by taking into account intersexual discrimination. We must tailor mechanisms to address the unique needs and aspirations of young people in all their diversity. Tokenism is still an issue. We emphasize the importance of avoiding tokenism in children, adolescent and youth participation, ensuring that mechanisms go beyond mere visibility and provide meaningful engagement while protecting them from reprisals, intimidation and threats. Child rights mainstreaming must be intentional, transparent, budgeted, equipped with accountability mechanisms. This requires targeted investments. Funding for capacity building and training is necessary. We need to allocate dedicated budgets to facilitate the meaningful participation of children, adolescents and young people. We also need to create opportunities for genuine collaboration, synergy between children, adolescents and youth and decision makers. At UNFPA, we believe in translating the principle of the CRC into tangible action, one that moves from tokenism to the true engagement of children, adolescents and youth, as full partners in the design, implementation and evaluation of strategies, programs, as well as creators of their own future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mrs. Fenger.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for all the great statements and good practices that were shared, and we took note of those. There were a number of questions that were around how we can ensure meaningful participation in relation to the Human Rights Council and also the UPR process, including that. At UNFPA, we have developed programs in our country offices where we support youth and adolescent-led organizations to engage with the UPR process. And that include also support in connection with the country submissions. And we have also initiated programs for adolescents and youth organizations to speak at the adoption of the UPR outcome reports. And so far we have supported 25 youth-led organizations to express their human rights priorities in the UPR process. There were some questions also on how we can ensure the participation and inclusiveness in this context. And I'd like to refer to a consultation that we held a couple of years ago in relation to the preparation here in Geneva, in relation to the preparation of the Youth Peace and Security report called The Missing Piece. And in that consultation with the young activists, some of the recommendations that they shared with us, and I'm now sharing that with those with you, in terms of what needs to be done from their perspective. And it was very much to have the Human Rights Council to be more accessible and more child-friendly, and that the bureaucratic requirements for participation, they need to be reviewed. Young people, of course, very savvy or interested in using more online platforms. It's difficult and expensive to travel to Geneva. So in terms of reviewing how can they have more easier access to the council, here were some of the recommendations. Also more resources were raised as a need. We need to equip youth-led and adolescent organizations so that they can build capacity on human rights and have access to information and also simply have information about how the whole process works. And they also indicated that permanent missions, they should provide more attention to child and youth rights when they are making recommendations to the UPR. And still today, adolescents and youth are neglected with a low number of recommendations. And while the majority of the UPR recommendations that do address children and youth, they are mostly focusing on youth and children in vulnerable situations in need, but much less are they focusing on how we can meaningfully include them in the processes here at the Council. There was also a reference to how can we ensure participation from youth, for instance, living in remote areas, and we have helped organizations speak via video link and provide messaging from remote. This was in the Latin American region where we supported that. It was also referred to as safeguarding children and youth is important, and we, of course, very much agree. In our some of our programs, we support the training and capacity building of youth organizations so that they can meaningfully participate, and also very much strengthen the importance of safeguarding and protecting youth from retaliation and harassment. Maybe I should stop here now. I was actually wanting to make a little personal note. I'm Danish, and I grew up with Hans Christian Andersen, the person who did fairy tales 200 years ago. Maybe some of you have read The Emperor's New Clothing. Yeah. And in preparation for today, this tale very much reminded me of the importance of listening and including young people's voices and bring their perspectives in. I think 200 years ago they saw that, and we definitely also should be very clear about this today. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.